in the face of some of the challenges, as discussed in our previous module, we've got certain instructional guidelines whereby we as language teachers, or we as, while implementing language curriculum design, we can make the best use of these instructional guidelines, and these will help us, heighten the significance of using internet for effective language teaching, or for or integrating it into the language curriculum design. Well, what are these instructional guidelines? Let's have a quick look at these instructional guidelines, and these, as you will come to know, are they revolve around both students and teachers' responsibilities while in the classroom. So primarily, we as teachers need to consider carefully the goals of the language curriculum design. In other words, while integrating internet into language teaching, we shouldn't overlook the overall goals of the language curriculum document, which we are, actually resorting to. For example, if you look at Pakistan's National Language Curriculum 2006, so there is an explicit mention of using not only the textbooks, but also the teachers need to go beyond the textbooks and use some supplementary materials to add to the teaching in the classroom. So the reason here, we have the flexibility and freedom to make the use of, to create materials from internet, but at the same time we should be mindful of what we are having in the form of curriculum documents, so that we are sticking to the social, political, or religious or cultural values inherent in a language curriculum design, right? So for example, if you are teaching writing, listening, reading, or speaking skills, we need to be careful about keeping in view, we should keep in view the overall structure of the curriculum and its requirements, right? And while integrating, we need to be mindful of integration, whereby we can explicitly streamline the roles between the student and the teacher, the power relationship between the student and the teacher. And it's important here because the collaboration between the student and teachers is important to realize the objectives of using internet into the classroom. So while using, we need to be, we don't need to underestimate the complexity, I mean the both lexical and the semantic complexity of the online discourse, because the online discourse, I mean the text, whether it's the listening, reading, or writing, or speaking, it's entirely different from that of the text we used in the textbooks or the course books. So what's important is just we could make our students cautious about some of the lexical and semantic complexities involved in the online discourse. So what it involves is some important teaching skills which we need to acquire through continuous professional training programs, right? And in the meantime, we could provide necessary support to our students while and this guideline refers to creating handouts. For example, while we are using internet and the students are having some detailed handouts in the classroom, they could refer to those handouts from time to time, just not to lose the track of what's going on in the classroom, right? And then we can have some training sessions. For example, how to email. We could train our students how to search specific websites for help, or how to look the words of into dictionaries and use thesaurus, or some other articles. So no matter if we need some help from the specialists, we could invite, right? And moreover, while integrating internet, we need to keep involving the students into this whole process. So the notion of learner-centered curriculum is in key here. While when we talk about making the use of utilizing internet for language teaching, because it will require obviously teachers to be more student-centered instead of teacher-centered. So I've got this beautiful metaphor here. What teachers need to do is just to be guide on the side rather than a sage on the stage, which is a usual phenomena in most of the public schools in our country. So in brief, we've got a list of instructional guidelines, but I have just mentioned briefly some of these important guidelines for you just to think before integrating internet for language teaching.